Guys, it's Debbie and welcome back to our second video, and this is the Divine Witch. If you've never been here before, I advise you go watch the first video to kind of give you a clue of what we're about. So I want to give you a little disclaimer before the video starts. The list that I'm about to go through does not necessarily mean that somebody's used spell work on you. Always please make sure that you go to a doctor and make sure that everything's okay physically wise. And also, you know, sometimes things happen, bad luck occurs. It doesn't necessarily mean that anything in this video pertains to you. So please, don't always assume what this video is about is actually happening. Make sure to be smart and go through, make sure to check your list, and then if everything checks out and everything's good and there shouldn't have been no reason for it, then that's when you should come to this video and find out what you should do. So let's get on to it. Alright guys, sorry about the disclaimer, but I figured I should probably include that in our little video. So today's video is going to be about how to tell if someone is doing spell work on you. There are 10 easy ways to tell if someone is doing spell work on you, and I'm also going to include in this video on what to do to protect yourself and get rid of the spell work that has been done upon you. So the first thing that you're going to notice is physical changes. It can be hair loss, hair growth, it could be a certain smell, it could be fatigue, it could be depression, anxiety out of nowhere. So make sure that, you know, you're okay physically, been okayed by a doctor. There shouldn't have been nothing wrong. You have a good medical history before you think, you know, it's always a thing of you need to make sure that you're checking your health first before you go into, oh, it's magic. Hopefully that comes across. So 2, emotional changes, such as I was saying with the depression and the anxiety, maybe OCD, like emotions that may not be yours, like you're either more angry, you're more happy, something's weird, you just get this feeling over you that messes with your actual emotions. Now, the physical and the emotional kind of go hand in hand, but I figure, you know, they should each have their own spot because what could be physical couldn't affect you emotionally if you're just a happy-go-lucky person. So we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3, success has disappeared. Now, with this one, it's a little bit tricky, especially if, you know, your job isn't one of those ones that's real stable. So the depletion of success means that no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, no matter what avenue you go to, no matter which route you go within your job, nothing's happening. You're not getting that promotion. You're doing the best that you can. You're going over the limit, but some reason it always escapes your grasp. This can be a sign of magic being used on you. But also remember that if you're lazy, you don't do your work, of course, you're not going to get that promotion. So as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but yet you feel like you're not getting nowhere, it's a possibility that someone has placed a spell on you to make it to where you're not getting any success within your life. So number 4 kind of goes in with number 3. It is unable to save money. Now, we all have things that happen, you know, pet bills, medical bills, car breaks down, you know, things like that. But if it's something that continues to happen every time you save, like either you lose your job or something comes up or something just didn't go right or an expense that shouldn't have been an expense in the first place, that's one of the signs that you have spell work against you. Like I said, it goes hand in hand with, you know, the job, lack of success, can't hardly save money, you know, it's kind of like a downward spiral, you know, with nowhere to go. So for number 5, trouble sleeping. If you're someone who normally is okay when you're sleeping, you don't really toss and turn at night, occasionally you'll have that one bad night, but it seems like maybe within the last couple of weeks, last couple of days, months, maybe even years, that you haven't been getting the proper sleep. And if you went out and you tried melatonin and you tried sleeping medication, it's just not working, it's a possibility that someone has put some spell work on you. But like I've said before, make sure you try every avenue before you automatically think that it's spell work. But we're going to go ahead and move on. And number 6 is aggression towards loved ones. This one kind of goes in with the number 2, with the emotions. If you just all of a sudden just have like you just can't stand them, you want to rip their hair out, like every time you see them, it just makes you just enraged. then it's a possibility spell work has been done, especially if it's not something that's happened before. Now, don't get me wrong. I know with friends and family, we can all get on each other's nerves, but I'm talking about something that just triggered one day. Like maybe you guys didn't have a problem. Maybe you didn't have an issue that bad. And then it just all of a sudden it just keeps on coming and coming and coming, and you just explode on this person. That's a possibility that you've had spell work done to you. Another one would be sexual relations. A lot of people don't realize that that's one way to break up a lot for relationships is the sex. It's not only that, it's not only like maybe you guys just don't have the same drive together as you used to. Maybe it's just not working. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like out of the blue, things were going good, your sex life was great, and then all of a sudden it's like gone. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody has put a spell on you, but it is one of the signs to tell. Especially if you know the person that you're with isn't cheating on you and isn't that type of person, and you're reassured and you know this for a fact, then that is a symptom of spell work being done. You know, you just don't feel like doing the same things that you wanted to do when you first met them. I mean, this is one of those ones where it can be argumentative because people can look at it and say, well, you know, you guys have been together for this long, or, oh, you know, well, maybe they're cheating. So, I mean, this one really just depends on you and what you think. So, proceed with caution, but good luck getting your sex life back. Hopefully it works. Okay, so family and friends betraying you. This one, you know, most people will say, well, you know, some of my family isn't family. Some of my friends, they were just using me, blah, 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 blah. But when it happens that everybody around you, it seems like you got no one to confide in, that right there, for me, is a spiritual attack. For the reason being is this. If you can isolate one individual and they have no one they can turn to, no one they can talk to because no one wants to talk to them or everyone's betraying them, then they're going to start feeling like they're alone. And they're going to start feeling depressed, which goes into the whole emotions, which then leads into physical changes, and then which leads into like your job. It just keeps on going and spiraling. So this is one of those ones where as long as you're not doing stuff to people and you have no clue what's going on, you might have had some spell work done against you. And we're going to move on. Loss in material possessions. Okay, so this one, like with anything on this list, you know, you want to do your checks. You want to make sure that, you know, you didn't misplace it somewhere. You want to make sure no one in your house has stole it. Another way to show loss of possessions is like, let's say if your job goes, then you lose the car, then you lose the house. And it just seems like you keep on losing more of the things that you had, that you held dear, and you just can't get them back and you don't understand why. This is a possibility that the spell work has been done on you, especially when it goes, if you notice in the list, it goes in a spiral. For this list to be true for you, you have to have more than just one or two things. It has to be like almost half the list for it to really be considered spell work being done on you. So keep that in mind. Hopefully you made it this far. If you did, gold star. 10, dreams. Now dreams are one of those things where we're still trying to figure them out. We have the dream books and things of that nature, but we're still trying to figure out, is it a dream? Did I astro travel? Or is somebody messing with my mind? Because dream magic is a thing. It can be fun if you know what you're doing. It can be time consuming and it can be energy consuming. I will be talking about some of these in their own video because when you get into things like dreams and dream magic, it's a little bit more complex. I do have an article on it on truthteller2095.com that you can find in our article section about. It's either in the article or it's, sorry, my foot itches, so that's like really a bad angle. But it's either in the article section or it's going to be in like astral projection and things of that nature. You'll be able to find it. Trust me, it's on there. I wrote it. I know it. Okay, so at this point, let's say, yep, half of the list, over half the list, this is me. I've already checked. I know, you know, I was doing nothing wrong. I had everything great. Everything was going good. And then, yep, someone put a spell on me. What do you do now? Like, how do you get rid of it? I mean, you can go online and pay somebody $500, but let's be realistic. Do you really think these people that you're paying are actually going to do something for you? Unless it's somebody that you're physically meeting and then you know that person, don't fall for it. You can do it at home. I'm hiccuping. You guys get the worst, like, looks on here, and you're like, what is wrong with you? Finish what you're saying. So, here's a few things that I would suggest for you to do. Step number 1, take a cleansing bath. It's going to help get whatever is on you off of you. There are different types of cleansing baths. It just depends on what you like. Some people put salt, some people put herbs, some people put both, and some people drink a bottle of wine while they do it. I mean, it's really up to you. 2, make a protection amulet or mojo bag. By the way, you don't have to do these in order. You can do them however you want, whatever works best for you. Make a mojo bag or an amulet. An amulet is pretty much anything that you can wear. Same goes with the mojo bag. With mojo bags, you can put herbs, you can put crystals, you can put little vials of your blood in and with it. It really just depends on what you're wanting and the intent that you're wanting to use that mojo bag for. Same thing goes with an amulet. You know, if you want it for protection, you're going to use it for protection. If you want it to help you kind of push out, you know, different people's emotions because you're an empath, this is something that you can do. Amulets are, you know, one of those things that is very powerful. What's the word I'm looking for? Example. You see people who normally will wear a cross. That's their amulet. That's their symbol of protection for them. Even though they don't realize it is an amulet or a protection for them, that's what it is. It's something that they carry around on them all the time, which is one of the things that you need to make sure, because if you make this and you don't carry it around, it really isn't going to help you. Cleanse your home. Cleansing of the home can be done by many ways. You can sage it. That's one thing I would recommend. And you can also get red brick and put it by any doorway that you walk through and any window sills if you wish, or salt. It really just depends on the person and the path. You can also place rose quartz, clear quartz, and I would say at least one tiger eye in the home, because it's really good for keeping everything together. You know what I mean? Then I would do what is called a protection barrier around the home. Now you're thinking, well, I just cleansed my home. I don't need a barrier. Yes, you do. Because, see, you cleansed your home, nothing's there, but it doesn't mean that nothing can come back. Me, personally, I use eggshell powder, which is known as something that I can't remember because I got it written down somewhere. But if you look it up, you'll find different formulas for it. Some people will add, once again, different herbs, oils, crystals, whatever it is. But make sure it is something that you can actually crush up, especially if you're doing crystal shards around your house as well. Plus, you also got to think, you know, when you're mowing the yard. So that's why I just go with a simple eggshell powder. Do concentrate on it, put in what I want it to do, and it lasts for at least a good 6 months to a year, depending on how many people you have coming to your house, if they're new or not. So then I would do a ritual. Now you're probably asking, okay, why am I doing a ritual? I've done the bath, I've done the amulet, everything else. To do a ritual, this is another thing that you can use with your amulet or your mojo bag. You can incorporate it in there with that. It's just asking for extra help, extra protection, so to speak. If you believe in angels, then you'd be calling on your guardian angels. If you believe in guides, you'd be asking your guide, hey, I need a little bit more help, a little bit more protection. Can you help me out? So forth. And also you can use the ritual. Here's the kicker. You can use this ritual to find out where that spell came from by a reversal spell. The reversal spell I will eventually put in here, or you can find one online, write one yourself, which is always the most powerful thing that you can do. Basically what it does is it takes what they put onto you and throws it back to them. It's kind of like playing ball. They threw the ball, you're throwing it back. And everything that happened to you is going to happen to them. So if you notice that someone is going through a lot of the same problems that you are going through, it's a possibility that after that ritual, that's the person that put it on you. And you can actually, sorry, someone's trying to call in. Bye-bye. Sorry. Hopefully that doesn't pop up during the video. That would be weird. Where was I? See, this is the problem when you're trying to make videos and sales calls want to call you. Okay, so with the ritual. So it bounces back off of, and then you can tell and pinpoint where it's at. If you don't want to do the ritual, a simple scrying would be good. Which I will do a video on proper scrying, what to look for, divination purposes and such like that. But if you want to do that, you can look it up online, or you can just wait for a video that I do on scrying. I mean, it just depends on you. And then bind them would be the last step. This is assuming that you found the person who did it. You know that they did it, and you're going to bind them. Now, you need to make sure that this person did it. You need to make sure that all paths lead back to them. Because if you bind somebody, you're binding them from doing anything to anyone. And they may or may not know it. They may have their own protection barriers. It really depends. So whenever you're doing this, please make sure that you're doing it right. You know who it is. You're for sure you know who it is. And remember, guys, spell work is very powerful, especially with the intent. So if you're planning to do spell work on somebody, no matter if it's for love or for hate, make sure that you're willing to deal with whatever consequences that may come. Magic has consequences just like everything else. So hopefully this video will help you guys to know if, or if not, you've had spell work done on you. Till next time.